We've all heard the term green in the context of environmental awareness. What does green mean? Green activities in the city are good for the environment, such as non-toxic alternatives, water-based versus solvent-based alternatives, things that are energy efficient, use less energy, and reduce our carbon footprint. The Greening of Broomfield is an initiative that began when Broomfield City Council requested status on green things in Broomfield. Staff began looking around at all of their operations and projects, looking at the green things that we are currently doing so we could report back to them on the status of where we are today. And then as we move forward, we will look at options for how we can create a more sustainable Broomfield in the future.
Today we're going to have some of our Parks Operations staff show you some of the activities and products that we as the City of Broomfield Parks Department use for helping in the recycle efforts and keeping Broomfield green.
This is a solar-powered park light. It's got a small solar panel on top that powers the light within. We don't need to have any electrical wiring, which is quite a substantial cost saving.
This is one of our new Toro 62-inch recycler mowers. These decks have 3 different blades on them, and they're chambered and baffled that the grass clippings will be drawn up, filtered up, and they keep recutting it. So they decompose a little bit quicker. It actually puts more nutrition back into the ground. And we save from having to pick up grass clippings and send them to a landfill. It's working out really well for us. It's a really good idea to keep those grass clippings into the turf itself. It just acts like a fertilizer. The other thing we have is what we call a turf vac. And what's green about it is we have this turf vac, which is about a 6.5 cubic yard bin. And it's got fingers, rubber fingers down on the ground that kind of brushes up the grass clippings. And then we take that back to our yard and we stockpile it there, and then we have bins that we hold it for until it's full, and then we take that bin to a company that actually makes compost for it. And we've probably used that for the last 5 years. It's a great program.
This is a 100% plastic recycled park bench, and it's something that we've gone to as a standard in our park system. We've probably got 50 of these in the system. They're very low maintenance, very durable. And over here you can see the trash receptacle. That's also 100% recycled plastic. We've probably got 150 of those in our system, and they're also standard for us now. Here we have a pair of trash receptacles. One is for trash and the other is for recycled cans and bottles. And this is the start of a program that we'll institute around our major park facilities, shelters, and ball field complexes, where we'll have the same thing. We'll have a recycled trash receptacle next to a trash receptacle. So what we're going to try to do is capture as many recyclables in our parks, keep them out of the trash system, and be able to recycle those.
Other areas that we're using water conservation throughout the parks is by using reuse water in our parks. Right now, 325 acres are being watered by reuse water. Some of the advantages to reuse water is obviously you're not using the domestic water system, and reuse water through the process has nutrients still in it that are beneficial to the plants and the turf. Another tool that the city and county of Broomfield is using in their parks irrigation is a central control system. When we have rain, high winds, we can send out an all-command, turn the system off, and with a handheld, we can turn down any system that we want, any zone we want to work on. We have a main computer back at our city office, and that's where we can control the system with just one activity. You go in there, if we have a rain come in, I can go to that computer, I can turn all these systems off with just one push of the button. All right, let's see what else we can find. Along with the city's conservation efforts, we also have 2 solar-powered controllers in the city. This is one of them. What this does is this solar panel takes in the solar energy, brings it down to this battery solar unit here. This battery runs this controller for us, which runs our shrub beds here, the irrigation in our shrub beds. The nice thing about this is when you have situations like this where you don't have an electrical supply on site, you can bring these solar panels in and you can set this up, and it works real nicely with the controllers.
We're at the Broomfield Recycling Center. This facility is owned by the City and County of Broomfield and operated by EcoCycle. As you can tell, this is a very busy place. You can hear the tree mulching going on in the background, and we're having a lot of drive-in traffic today. This facility was built in 1997 to give residents an opportunity to recycle things that are not taken at the curb. Broomfield feels that it's very important to provide this opportunity to its residents to make sure that we are on the cutting edge of resource conservation. We get a lot of calls on a weekly basis from residents who are not able to recycle certain materials at the curb. So it's very important to them to have this opportunity. The things they can't put out in their curbside bin, they can drop off here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's convenient, it's accessible, and the feedback we get is they love it here.
Right now you're looking at the grinding operation for our tree branch recycle center. Right now the brush pile that you see is approximately 500 cubic feet. You can drop off your tree branches and then it is ground into mulch, and then you can pick it up and spread it around your trees and shrubs. Mulch provides a lot of benefits for trees and shrubs. It helps cool the roots of the trees, it helps conserve water, and it just brings what we take off the tree and reincorporates it back into the environment to make a good quality soil.
We're here at Plaster Reservoir, and we've got out in the middle of the pond, you can see a solar-powered pond circulator. The obvious benefits of a solar-powered circulator: we don't have an electrical service to worry about, and we don't have an electric bill every month. And much like an aerator, it will improve the water quality here at Plaster Reservoir.
Part of our water conservation efforts focus on water quality in addition to water quantity. We have a rigorous pond monitoring program where we test all of the ponds in the city and county of Broomfield to make sure that the water quality being maintained in the ponds will support fish in some of the ponds and just aesthetics in other parts of the parks areas. By monitoring the ponds on a regular basis, it keeps the water clean as it passes through Broomfield and protects the water quality as we pass it through to our other users downstream. The purple signs that you see around Broomfield parks are signs that indicate reuse water is being used there for irrigation. These signs are just a precaution to make sure that people aren't running through the sprinklers and having their animals run through the sprinklers. This water is treated and disinfected, but we like to minimize contact with humans. Environmental Services has a booth here today at Broomfield Days to promote the City Council's initiative for Green Broomfield. So we're going to be talking to residents about the new parks recycling program. We're co-locating recycling bins next to the trash cans in all of the city parks so people can recycle their water bottles and aluminum pop cans. The City and County of Broomfield is promoting their new parks recycling program. We're going to co-locate recycling containers in all of the city parks next to the trash containers.
Cool.
And we also have a free gift today, a reusable shopping bag for you.
Thank you.
The Stormwater Division will have a float in the parade today. They will have Flo and Joe, our stormwater mascots, who will be promoting the theme, Keep It Clean because we're all downstream. Mr. Philip Acan will also be on the float, and he's to remind us to not litter the waterways and to recycle.
The zero waste stations are to collect both compostable and recyclable products at the Broomfield Days Fair. We are trying to reduce our amount of trash that we take out to the landfills, so we're collecting anything that being composted or recycled. This is really important to me, and I think that it's something that we can teach a lot of other people in our community how important it is to recycle. I think this is just another educational opportunity to let people see how easy it is to reduce the amount of trash that we produce.
Purchasing department's overall philosophy in dealing with green purchasing throughout the city and county of Broomfield is to gather information from outside sources, bring it to the users, and to apply as much as we can and still be fiscally responsible to our processes. And an example of that would be the solar aeration of ponds. They came to me and say, we want to be able to do this, so we set it through the process and figure out the dollars, and we work with the budget department too. So it's not just purchasing, it's more of a team effort. We're so small, we have to kind of melt together.
Here at the treatment facility, we are most interested and most concerned with water quality. However, conservation is a secondary concern of ours. We have approximately 10 water filters that we use in the treatment process, and during the day we will wash 2 to 3 filters per day, using approximately 80 to 90,000 gallons per filter of water. We can retrieve 95% of that water, recapture it in a main tank that we can then recycle or reuse back into the front end of our water treatment facility. Water conservation benefits everyone. Water in general is a reusable, however finite resource. Well, the most we can do to conserve this resource would allow future generations, our children, their children, to have water, to be able to live a life that has a quality of life that water can provide.
Okay, what you're seeing here is the plant outfall for the City of Broomfield wastewater facility. Well, we employ a couple of processes that are beneficial to the environment. One is ultraviolet light disinfection. We used to use gaseous chlorine. That proved to be potentially harmful to the plant personnel. Could be harmful to aquatic life. The UV is beneficial in that regard. And there's also no chemical addition and no byproducts are formed with UV. Our second is methane production. And here at this plant we use anaerobic digestion, and as a byproduct of that stabilization process, it produces methane gas. We use the methane gas to fire the boilers that keep the tanks, the digesters, at about 98 degrees Fahrenheit. And we produce about 56,000 cubic feet of methane per day, which translates into a savings of $40,000 per year.
PACE certification, Partners for a Clean Environment. We had a set of criteria that we had to meet to get this certification, which PACE means that we're using environmentally friendly chemicals and we're using environmentally friendly practices. It's not only for chemical-wise, but for our employees that are employed. Here is one of the areas that we had to bring in-house to make that certification, and it's our used oil filters that we use on all of our equipment and hydraulic systems. Drain the oil out, let them set for at least 24 hours, and then we bring all the filters, we put them in this container, and we have a private contractor that comes in and hauls them off and have them melted down. Next to it in the yellow is a new program that the city started, and it's for frying oil. We are now recycling the frying oil from residents of the community. Once the oil, cooking oil, frying oil, has been removed from here, it goes and is recycled and then made into biodiesel fuel. Okay, the City and County of Broomfield has had a waste oil recycling program since the mid-1990s. Our main goal here is to try and keep the waste oil out of stormwater drains and out of the public entities and the lakes. So the oil is removed on a monthly basis, takes it to what we call a re-refining facility, and then the City and County of Broomfield buys re-refined oil to put back into the crankcases of all the city and county equipment and vehicles. Okay, as we previously spoke about the PACE certification, this is one area that we had to make a change in. We went from a petroleum-based parts cleaner to an aqueous-based, meaning it's a water-based cleaning chemical, friendly to the technician and their body, along with being environmentally friendly to the environment that we're working in. So we're not only looking at the environment here, we're also looking at our employees to try and prolong their life. Another product that we are presently using is for the technician's hands after a hard day's work. They can come here and use this citric acid based hand cleaner. This has no harmful effects and is safe to use, both for the technician and the environment. The City and County of Broomfield presently is using biodiesel fuel in their diesel. This diesel fuel has worked very well for us. We haven't had any problems. Everything the city and county owns that is diesel powered runs biodiesel.
We're standing in front of a rotomill pile, which is a chewed up asphalt that we've had recycled through one of our contractors. We use it basically for subgraded parking lots and partial shoulder work. Pretty much we don't waste anything that we tear out of the ground. We also bring in and have hauled in recycled concrete. It's just concrete that's crushed up from other jobs elsewhere. We bring it in for subgrade to put below our asphalt. Better use than putting it all into a landfill. We also like to talk about Regenerative Air street sweepers. They don't have brooms that kick up the dirt and like the mechanicals do, so it's less dust in the air. Makes it a cleaner environment.
This is a traffic signal head. You have a red ball, a yellow, and a green. These are with LEDs and not the light bulbs anymore. LEDs are light emitting diodes. They use less electricity than a light bulb does. They're brighter and the longevity is better. Within our traffic signal department, we use solar school flashers. All new installs are solar from here on out. We have 58 school flashers, approximately 30 of those are solar. We're just trying to cut down on power consumption.
Here in the Code Compliance Division, we've got a few green strategies of our own, and they begin with these hybrid vehicles. The hybrid vehicles we use in Code Compliance actually will run on battery power if you're below 30 miles per hour. And for our neighborhood patrols, we move at a slow speed, and these are ideal for our operation. When we're on battery power, the engine shuts down and the vehicle is quiet as it rolls along. So it sounds as if the engine has died when actually it's simply turned off. These vehicles increase the miles per gallon that we get out of our fleet. And as you might guess, we spend quite a few hours out in the field cruising Broomfield. So this is a big savings for us and a huge help. The city has plans to try to replace an average of 4 vehicles per year in our fleet with these hybrids. So we'll get rid of the old vehicles. In fact, this particular vehicle replaced a very old pickup truck that did not get good gas mileage at all. So as we're able to replace our fleet with these new fuel-efficient vehicles, we'll become a lot less of a user of these fossil fuels and gasoline in particular.
If people want more information on Green Broomfield, they can look on the City and County of Broomfield's website at www.broomfield.org. As a Broomfield resident and a taxpayer, I'm proud of Broomfield's efforts to go green. I think it's important for all of us to do what we can while we can. That's all any of us can do, is look at our individual activities and make sure we're doing the best we can with what we have. It's important for communities like Broomfield to go green, not because it's the in thing to do, but because it's the right thing to do. We want to make sure that the activities and operations that we do today don't negatively impact the quality of life for future generations. 50 years from now, I would like for people to look back at some of these projects and say, these people really cared. They cared about us and they cared about our environment.